Hi everybody, it's Simon here from careermap.co.uk and welcome to day 4 of National Apprenticeship Week, and for this session we're joined by the team from Laing O'Rourke. Today they'll be talking to you about all their different apprenticeship opportunities, but before we begin, if you just look to the right hand side of the presentation screen, you'll see a chat facility. We are live, so ask any questions at any time and we'll try and get through as many as we can at the end during the Q&A session. So before we begin, if you'd like to introduce yourselves and give us a little bit of a background of your roles within Laing O'Rourke.
Hello everyone, I'm Christian Webb and I'm a apprentice construction planner working for Laing O'Rourke in London.
Hi everyone, I'm Chloe McCarthy and I work in the Human Resources function here at Laing O'Rourke as a Early Talent Work Experience Coordinator, primarily based in our Dartford head office.
Hi everyone, I'm Ibrahim, working as a site engineer for Laing O'Rourke on the Thames Tideway project in London, based in Chelsea.
Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Grady. I'm an assistant quantity surveyor working on the Royal Liverpool Hospital completion project.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma Penny. I'm a procurement assistant based in the head office in Dartford.
Okay, so as I said, I'm Christian Webb. I'm a trainee construction planner, and as a planner, I create programs to deliver a project not only in the most efficient and shortest time possible, but in a way that ensures health and safety and quality can be maintained. I use drawings issued by designers to understand the amount of work needed to be done and to ensure my program is accurate. And in the construction phase of a project, I track progress against the programs I've created, and I work closely with my team to ensure key milestones are met. Being a planner means that you get a well-rounded knowledge of the whole business as you work closely with estimators, engineers, surveyors and architects, and will understand the whole life cycle of a project from pre-construction phases to the final handover. So who are we? We are Laing O'Rourke. We are an international engineering and construction company, and we are part of the construction industry, an industry that impacts on everyday lives, homes, workplaces, roads, airports, water systems, football stadiums, shopping centres, schools and hospitals. We currently deliver state-of-the-art infrastructure and building projects for clients in the UK, Middle East and Australia. The main sectors of our company, so obviously everyone knows us as Laing O'Rourke, but there are different sectors to our company. CHT is our mechanical and electrical specialist and is the UK's leading MEP solution provider. Expanding Structures are a division to deliver our concrete basement, sub and superstructure frame construction, and the Expanded Geotechnical division uses a range of piling techniques using the latest technology and equipment to provide clients with a one-stop foundation solution. Select Plant provides the most technically advanced cranes and hoist equipment, accommodation and services to the construction industry, both in our UK and Australia bases. And our plant division has quickly grown to be recognised as one of the largest and most diverse suppliers of choice. Explore Manufacturing is our manufacturing sector, where in our own purpose-built facility, we can carry out our state-of-the-art processes to further strengthen the business's DFMA approach. Our infrastructure ensures that complex building systems can be manufactured in a controlled factory environment, maintaining the highest standards. So what do we do? Like I've said before, we design, manufacture and engineer and build iconic buildings and complex infrastructure projects used by millions of people every day. And our apprentices, students and graduates have real involvement in all of these projects. And as you can see here, these are the sort of sectors that we work for: leisure, healthcare, science and research, education. So there's a whole host there. And what kind of projects do we work on? So we design, manufacture, engineer and build iconic buildings and complex infrastructure projects, like I've said. I'm currently based on the Olympia redevelopment in West Kensington. The project includes 2 new hotels providing both boutique and high-end options for guests. We have 2 new major artist venues incorporating a 1,000-seat performing art space and a 1,500-seat theatre with 10,000 square foot of performance and rehearsal space for free local charities to use. We also have a pedestrianised public space going up, including squares, streets and sky gardens, and many new cafes and restaurants being built here. The project is going to be delivered over 4 years with planned completion in 2024. As a planner, the biggest difficulties with this project is the event interfacing and the management with that. As through the construction, there are live events still going on site. So obviously health and safety is a big factor with that. And I think we have a short video to play.
Hi everyone, my name is Chloe McCarthy and I started Laing O'Rourke in September 2017 as a human resources trainee. As part of the professional apprenticeship programme, I've had the opportunity to complete yearly placements in a variety of departments within the human resources function, including recruitment, people services, people operations and people advisory. I'm currently completing my final placement in the early talent recruitment team, working as an early talent work experience coordinator. This has involved supporting Laing O'Rourke's entry-level programmes, which has been a really exciting opportunity for me. My line managers and mentors throughout my placements have been really supportive. I will graduate from the professional apprenticeship programme this June, and looking back at my experience I've gained to date, along with the skills I've developed over the 5-year programme, I highly recommend the apprenticeship route. Laing O'Rourke have also supported my professional development within human resources, as I've had the opportunity to complete my Level 3 and Level 5 human resource qualifications through the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development on a day release each week. This has been a fantastic opportunity, as I've been able to put the theory learned in the classroom into everyday practice. So that's a bit about me, and now I'm just going to move on and talk you through the kinds of roles that we typically recruit for. So the early talent recruitment team at Laing O'Rourke are currently recruiting for a variety of professional apprenticeships. The list in the colour green on the screen are the typical professional apprenticeship job roles we recruit for. If you check the Laing O'Rourke website on the Our Careers page, you will find a full list of our current opportunities. If you haven't already applied for our professional apprenticeship programme, be sure to get your applications in quick, as they close on Friday the 25th of February 2022. Here at Laing O'Rourke, we also recruit for trade and technical apprentices. The job roles listed in the colour yellow are the trade and technical job roles we typically recruit for. Our trade and technical apprenticeships tend to go live around March time, so keep an eye out for these on the Laing O'Rourke website. Some of our trade and technical job roles are based at our static sites as well, including our select plant hire departments across the UK and also our Crown House manufacturing facility in Oldbury. So that's a bit about the kinds of roles we recruit for, and I'm just going to move on to our development programmes and the entry points that we have. So there are, as you can see on the screen, there are a range of development opportunities with Laing O'Rourke, whether you're leaving school, at university, or you're about to graduate. There are currently 5 entry points for our early talent programmes. As you can see, we offer work experience, trade and technical apprenticeships, professional apprenticeships. We've also got our summer industrial placements and our graduate development programmes. So I'm just going to talk high level through each of these, just in terms of entry level requirements. So for work experience, this is typically based for those individuals who are in education and are just looking to find out a bit more about the industry. So for our work experience programmes, we can only offer work experience for those aged 14 years and over due to our health and safety regulations. We've also got our trade and technical apprenticeships, as I've just been through, and these are typically after you've finished your GCSEs. They're open to anyone, but for this programme you will need GCSEs. We've also got our professional apprenticeships. So for this programme you will need A-levels, typically 3 A-levels or a BTEC equivalent. And then we've got our summer industrial placements. So these are for our undergraduates. So these are usually within civil engineering and quantity surveying. So this will be a 6-week programme where you can find out a bit more about those career routes, and you tend to complete a 6-week programme in the summer with us. So that is targeted at those who are on track for a 2-1 or higher. And if you are successful on our summer industrial placements, this is then a good feeder for you to then go on to our graduate development programme. So our graduate development programme is aimed at those individuals once they've completed their degree. So this will be typically after you've finished university, and you will then join us as a graduate. So that's a bit about our programmes there. So these programmes are designed to bring out the best in you and push you to your full potential through a combination of practical experience, technical learning and professional development. So throughout all of these programmes, you'll enjoy strong support from line managers, a mentor and also a large peer group network. So that's everything on my slide. So I'll now pass you over to Ibrahim, who will talk you through our training and development programmes in a bit more detail. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Ibrahim and I'm a site civil engineer working on the Thames Tideway project in London and Chelsea. So my career with Laing O'Rourke started in September 2019, where I was in the surveying department for 1 year. And this sort of taught me the bare basics of site behaviour and dimensional control, which is a really important aspect of civil engineering. And now after that first year, I've now spent the last 1.5 years in a site engineering role at the Chelsea site. Like I've mentioned, I've been involved in constructing the connection tunnel, the CSO shaft, and now I've moved on to an underground chamber with another connection culvert tunnel. So as Chloe mentioned, I'm going to talk to you a bit about the training and development that Laing O'Rourke offer. And for me, it mostly comes down to the opportunities that Laing O'Rourke provides. For example, in everyday life, we need certain training courses to be able to fulfill our job roles. So Laing O'Rourke provides incredible training opportunities, which are extremely important for your role, such as the first aid and the fire marshal course. These are just very basic ones, but they're also very relevant to your everyday life. This not only lets you thrive and conquer challenges on site, but also be an integral asset in your approach to all of your work as your competency develops throughout. Our professional apprenticeship program is for school leavers with a real passion for construction, engineering, and a hands-on diverse experience. So naturally with Laing O'Rourke, you are positioned in teams that are comprised of industry leaders. Throughout the program and during work, engineers and professionals from all backgrounds, experiences, and calibers encompass this. This level of expertise allows you to feed off their lessons learned, any advice that they have, all the knowledge that they've built over their entire careers. And that ultimately for me results in you being able to make proactive decisions on site, but also know when to ask for help, which is part of developing as an engineer. I mean, one of the major things that I've learned is knowing when to ask for help, and that's a skill in itself to master, knowing your limits. So through a combination of practical experiences, technical learning, and professional development, you'll enjoy strong support from all of your line managers, mentors, and a large peer group network. Colleagues also focus on your development. I mean, it's advantageous for the actual project for you to develop, because this enables you to take on more responsibility within the project and the team itself, resulting in a more streamlined project, and as a side effect, bettering your career. I mean, the most basic educational requirements are 3 A-levels or equivalent. The program combines work-based experience with off-the-job training. So for myself in particular, I go to university on a block release, which is a 2-week block that I get given after every 6 weeks of work. And that cycle repeats itself 4 times within the calendar year. And that comprises of the off-the-job training that is classified as 20% of your time at work. This helps to challenge us and stretch us apprentices and mold us into future engineering leaders. The process comprises of an initial application, which involves a CV and a cover letter, video interviews, telephone interviews, and then finally a formal assessment center and in-person interviews. So for myself in particular, I'm on the technician engineering, civil engineering program, where I completed 2 years, completing a level 4 HNC qualification. And then after successfully passing the 2 years, Laing O'Rourke offer you the opportunity to sit something called an endpoint assessment with the Institute of Civil Engineers. And what this allows you to do is gain an engineering title called EngTech, Engineering Technician, which are basically letters after your name to show that you've completed a certain milestone with the Institute of Civil Engineers. And moreover, after you've completed the 2 years, and the 3-year program starts, and this allows you to work towards a Bachelor's of Engineering with honours with the University of Exeter. And this is a level 6 program where you gain a degree. And at the end of that, if successful, you become an incorporated engineer, which is just one below being a chartered engineer. So sitting assessments with the ICE, I can imagine it's very daunting. I think all the other professions that are here as well, everyone's got some sort of affiliation with a industry leading body such as the ICE, and becoming officially registered with the Engineering Council is quite challenging. And the fact that Laing O'Rourke surrounds all the apprentices with professionals of insane caliber experience, it gives you a massive catalogue of expertise of people who have been through the process and are that streamlined and confident in the process that they now mentor others to do the same. Colleagues support apprentices in all they do, from university coursework, which they've obviously done before in the past, and into detailed meeting reports for professional reports. So for my example in particular, I have to write reports to the ICE at the end of the 2 years and at the end of the 3 years to be able to prove that I'm competent in my job, to be able to gain the professional accreditation. So whatever program you join, there's always an opportunity for continuous learning, and you'll be supported to build the right skills and experience, and also gain the relevant qualifications and professional accreditations. So on screen, as you can see, it gives you a small sort of diagram of the path that you can take to join with Laing O'Rourke. I mean, the opportunities are endless. There's no fixed sort of path where you have to do like for university, it's usually the same, A-levels or B-Techs or something equivalent, and then straight to university. However, this apprenticeship scheme that we have offers you straight from GCSEs to be able to get involved in the Laing O'Rourke business. I think that's all from the training and development side, and I'll pass you on to my colleague Rebecca.
Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Grady. I'm an assistant quantity surveyor working on the Royal Liverpool Hospital project. So I'm in my third year of the apprenticeship programme and started like Ibrahim in 2019. 6 months into my apprenticeship, we moved to working from home due to the COVID pandemic. At the time, I think everyone was just as concerned, but the support given through line managers and the rest of the commercial team was fantastic. And 2 years on, we're now adopting a flexible working style. So that allows me to work from home and on site. That is dependent on what function you choose to go down, as some work can't be completed from home. I'm going to talk to you a bit about the application process and the experience I had back in 2019. So you start off by applying online. As Chloe mentioned before, there's a variety of sectors that you can go down. They will all be available on the LOR website. You then go through a CV screening process. So this determines whether you're all qualified for the role based on your education, experience, and other information captured within your CV. If you progress, the next stage is online testing. So this is a series of psychometric testing where you have an allotted time to answer basic maths, English, and comprehension questions, which are used to measure your mental capabilities and behaviours. If you look online, there's many free examples and practice tests that you can complete, and it might put you a bit more at ease when you come to complete the actual test. Following the online testing, you then move on to the video interview stage. So for me, this was quite daunting as I'd not experienced that before. But when I actually did it, it wasn't as bad as I first thought. So the best way to describe this is a one-way FaceTime call. You use your phone, laptop, or tablet to record yourself answering a series of questions. You have an allotted thinking time and answering time. So just a quick example, if the question that came onto your screen was, why do you want to work within the construction industry? You have a minute of thinking time off camera, and then 2 minutes where you record and present your answer. This is then reviewed by our early talent team and function leads. Finally is the assessment centre. So this is a full day event down at our head offices in Dartford. For my assessment centre, it was split up into 3 sections. So firstly, we had the meeting scenario. So myself and the other candidates were each given a pack of information to read and present, and we had to decipher 3 principles of which we would choose as most important as a group. After this was a presentation, so you're given half an hour to prepare and 15 minutes to present to one of the other interviewers. And then finally was the interview section, which is a one-to-one interview with a member of your function, where you're asked to draw on your experiences and show ways certain skills have been utilised in the past. The assessment day is a great opportunity to ask senior members of the team any questions you have. There's plenty of downtime and breaks throughout the day to get them questions in with them. And assuming you're successful in the application process, you'll then be contacted with an offer of employment. You can then go and enjoy your summer and celebrate before you start at LOR. I'll now pass on to Emma.
Hi everyone, my name's Emma Penny and I'm one of the procurement assistant graduates based at the head office in Dartford. I've been with the business for 4 months now, and as part of my development on my graduate scheme, I'm currently undertaking an apprenticeship to achieve my chartership through the Institute of Procurement and Supply. I'm based within the structures category management team, working primarily on building maintenance units and lifts and escalators across a variety of projects at different stages in the project lifecycle. So here we have some hints and tips for applying to Laing O'Rourke. Firstly, one of the most important and useful tips to help you throughout the application process is to research thoroughly and really read the job description of the role you're applying to before you apply. This will help you to ensure that the role really does interest you and you can kind of familiarise yourself with some of the company's projects and the overall goals and strategy of the business. By doing this, you'll be able to tailor your CV and cover letter to the specific job. This might just kind of involve reordering and highlighting some of your experiences on your CV, but it can be really helpful when completing your cover letter, as it's a good opportunity to start showing your passion for the job and kind of link in some of the company's strategic goals and objectives. This can really make your cover letter stand out. They're the first impression that the company gets of you. So you kind of want to show that you've put in the effort and you aren't just using the kind of generic CV and cover letter to apply to multiple roles. Another important thing to remember throughout your application process is how hobbies can support your application. At this stage in your career, you might not have very much directly applicable experience. So this is where hobbies can be a really good way to kind of demonstrate your passions and work ethics. And they can make your application really memorable. So things like team sports, your D&V, drama groups, instrument playing, any of this can be a really great thing to include in on your CV, on your cover letter, and especially in your interview, whether that be your video interview or your in-person interview. You can bring them up when answering questions. A really important technique to remember for this is to use the STAR technique. So this is the situation, kind of provide the context and set the scene, and then the task, explain the task that was at hand, what needed to be done and why, and then the action, explain the action you took to achieve this, and then finally the result, explain the result of your effort and what you accomplished. So when you're preparing for your interview, the research you've done before you've applied will be super helpful in trying and in aligning your interests with the company. So you can kind of, if you can find a project that you're particularly interested in, you can kind of bring that up in your interview where relevant, and that can really show your passion and engagement with the company. Do not be afraid to ask questions. The interview is for you to find out about the company just as much as it is for the interviewer to get to know you. So it might be a good idea to kind of note down a couple of questions you have before the interview, just so they're ready to hand when the time comes. And then also just ask some of your family and friends to kind of practice going through some questions with you, just so you kind of get used to the feel of it and you kind of know what to expect. You can kind of Google questions like interview questions and just come up with a couple like answers in preparation for it. So finally, what are Laing O'Rourke looking for? So we're looking for passionate candidates with the motivation to learn and develop with the company, while also bringing in a fresh perspective to help the company achieve its strategic goals. So if you're interested in anything we've said today, I really encourage you to apply. We have some time now for some questions, so feel free to ask us about any queries you have about early careers at Laing O'Rourke.
Thanks, guys. Excellent presentation. Hope everyone found that informative as an introduction to Laing O'Rourke and sort of what they do. So yeah, I've had a few questions coming in on the chat, so I'll sort of start from the bottom and work my way up. So this is a question from Keith to the apprentices. So he says, what is the most exciting projects you've been involved with so far?
So I'll jump in on this one. Obviously, I started 2 years ago in my apprenticeship, but I've been put on the Olympia project. So basically, I don't know if you know what Olympia is, but Olympia is an event space. They're most famous for their horse show that they run once a year. And on site, it's about, I think it's sub £600 million project. And we're building hotels, office space, two arenas. We're also doing cafes, restaurants, music venues. There's a whole host of going on, and there's also open public space. But like I said in my presentation, I think the most interesting part about this job, and maybe the most difficult part about this job, is being able to interface with the events that are already running. So this month we've got 3 events running in the original space, because obviously a refurbishment job, so there's still 2 open halls for shows to go on. So obviously we have 3 cranes on site at the moment, and we've got to be careful with, lifting over people. We can't do that at all. And obviously as a planner, I've got to work around shows and figure out what work can be done when there's events going on. But yeah, that's probably, obviously it's my first job, but it's probably one of the most interesting jobs going on at the moment with Laing O'Rourke.
Would anyone else like to add to that?
So I'll jump in as well on that. I work on the Tideway Tunnel project, and I think one of the big things about my project is that the public don't really get to see what it actually looks like, because the majority of it is all underground. So we're constructing a tunnel that runs from East London all the way to West London, going under some of the most famous landmarks in the world, going past the London Eye, going past Blackfriars, which is a financial hub for the entire world. I mean, all of these aspects that get involved in Tideway, we have everything from tunneling to marine works. We're based in the actual river, so we build out into the river and basically take possession of a small section of the river. I mean, it's incredible the nature of the project and the different aspects that you learn. And for me, it's that you get to actually see how it's being done, you learn how it's done, and then you can also apply it, and you'll be responsible for delivering that type of work, which is incredible. To be able to build a tunnel under the Thames that's supposed to last 120 years it's incredible, to be honest.
Really cool. Yeah. Obviously, you guys are both sort of south-based London. I mean, a lot of the questions we get are, do you operate nationally? I mean, where do you guys sort of normally recruit apprentices, sort of locations-wise across the country?
So our projects and our roles are pretty varied. So we are recruiting in the north and south at the moment. But in terms of project allocation, that happens closer to when we're intaking, which will be closer to September time.
Do you recruit all year round, or is it sort of certain windows throughout the year?
It's just a certain window for our professional apprenticeships. So we've been recruiting since December, and as I mentioned, we'll be recruiting for our professional apprenticeship programme up until the 25th of February 2022.
And how many apprentices do you normally take on each year? Is it really competitive? How do you find
it is competitive, and it's varied across our different programmes. So last year for the cohort that we intook, so our 2021 cohort of graduates and professional apprentices, it was around 100.
Wow, decent numbers. Yeah. I mean, another one is like, we get asked this a lot, is how would you suggest people stand out, you know, in an application, assessment centre or interview scenario?
I would just say, for me, practice. So if you are going to kind of the assessment centre stage, you know, parents, friends, you know, get them to kind of make up some questions and just put you in that environment, I guess, just so you can have a bit of a practice. And as well, beforehand, if you've got a careers advisor at school, getting them to have a look at your CV. Okay,
thank you. Michael says, so what's the average day like for an apprentice? How do you balance your sort of work commitments and your learning commitments?
I'll jump in on this one. So for me, I'm a bit different to how Ibrahim mentioned it earlier. I have a day release. So on a Wednesday, I go to University of Salford and do my studying for my degree in quantity surveying. A typical day is usually I'm on site 8 till 5 or working from home. Variety of Teams calls throughout the day and dealing with applications and payments with our subcontractors. The balance with learning and work you find a lot easier than you first think. I think a lot of people find it quite daunting, but both work and uni are flexible in the support they give you. But does anyone else want to touch on the experience of that?
So yeah, I was just going to say I do the same sort of thing. I have a day release as well. But on a Tuesday, I go to London South Bank, and I'm doing a construction management degree. So on a Tuesday, my whole day will be at university, and I think a lot of people, when they're applying for apprenticeships, they don't think you can have your uni lives as well. But obviously, on a Tuesday, I meet a whole host of people in the same sort of path as me as well. There's a lot of apprentices as well because it's a part-time course. So you still meet a lot of people your age. And obviously after uni, you always meet up outside of uni as well at the weekends, things like that. On my day-to-day basis, because I'm a planner, I sit down with my team a fair bit, and we walk through programs. I go out on site twice a week and mark up programs that I've already created using drawings and seeing progress on site. If progress isn't gone as we'd like to, I'd go back to my team, work with my team, and see how we can go about it to achieve our finish date. But yeah, it's my day-to-day role.
Thanks, guys. Another question we get asked a lot is progression after the apprenticeship. Could you just explain to the guys the sort of the routes that they might be able to take once they've done their apprenticeship? I mean, do they get automatically put onto, say, a degree apprenticeship if they did a lower level apprenticeship? I mean, what's the sort of experience there?
So for the professional apprenticeship programme, when you join that programme, it is a 5-year programme. So throughout those 5 years, you will complete your degree apprenticeship or other qualifications, depending on the training provider. So it's varied really, but within those 5 years, you have modules as well that you'll attend as a cohort. So those will range from kind of professional development, learning how to balance kind of working with university work. So it varies from job role to job role.
Thank you. With the degree apprenticeships, we often get asked, are they fully funded, or do they have to take out a student loan like somebody going, on a sort of normal degree pathway?
The degrees are fully funded by Laing O'Rourke.
And are they accredited by a university? How does that work? I mean, are they sort of recognised the same as a normal degree, if that makes sense?
Yep, so they are recognised. So it would be, a degree as if kind of one of your friends is attending university. So I know for London, the main training provider is London South Bank University. And for the North, it is usually the University of Salford.
So it's exactly the same, but there's no debt.
Yep.
I was just going to add to that as well. On a university day, so I go on a Tuesday. Some of the guys in my course, there's about 80 in my course. Some of them are apprentices, but also some of them are funded it themselves. And you can tell when questions start rolling out about works on site. You can tell who isn't an apprentice because they haven't had that experience on site. Obviously, because I'm here on site 4 days a week, I think you tend to learn more on site than you do actually through the course itself.
Yeah, absolutely hands-on. Kelly says she's at school at the moment. Could she sort of apply now for next year, or is there somewhere where she could maybe register her interest for the next cycle? Where would they find out more? Is there a link you could possibly put in the chat for your early careers page or something like that?
Yeah, everything is on our Laing O'Rourke careers page. So I can drop a link in the chat, and that includes kind of all of our opportunities currently, and then you can kind of monitor for upcoming opportunities.
Okay, thanks, guys. Good question from Phil. He says, work experience. What type of work experience do you offer, and can this help with an apprenticeship application? Who wants to take that one?
What's the question again, sorry?
What type of work experience do you offer specifically, and can this help with an apprenticeship application? That's from Phil.
Yeah, so work experience has been on hold because of kind of the pandemic and our restrictions on site and in our offices. But we are looking at work experience, kind of up to 2-week work experience, and also our insight days. So we will start to, kind of launch these, over the coming months. So if you have an interest in work experience, then please email us. So you can email us at lorworkexperience@langeo'rourke.com.
And what does sort of the work experience generally entail, and the insight days? Have you got a bit more information on that?
Yeah, so generally the work experience, a 1 to 2 week placement. So these are typically kind of on site, and it's just to find out a bit more about the job roles that are on site. So kind of quantity surveying, construction management, civil engineering, just to see the types of roles really that that we offer, and whether that is something for you, whether you want to apply for one of our programs. At least you get a bit of experience beforehand.
The taste, yeah. And then Eve asked a good question, and we get this a lot about the culture. What's the culture like at Laing O'Rourke, and how supported do you feel doing your apprenticeships?
Shall I take that one?
Yeah, go on in.
Yeah, so for the culture, I mean, in terms of engineering is what I can mostly speak to. The support is insane. The amount of people that you have around you who've experienced what you've done before in the past, who've been through the entire professional, they've been through the traditional way, and they've also been through the apprenticeship way. You get a mixed bag of people. So the people who've done the traditional university and then gone to ICE and become professionally recognized. I think my camera's just gone there. Sorry,
we can still hear you.
Yes, yeah, sorry. They've been professionally recognized and have gone through the entire process. They've got all the tips and tricks, and they fully support you. As far as the culture, I mean, it's an interesting culture because you'll meet people who have been through, in terms of civil engineering, you can work anywhere in the world. I've got colleagues that have worked in the Middle East who have learned methods and approaches over there. People who have worked in Canada, people who have worked across Europe. I mean, even the people out on site, like the labour force, the trade force, they're people from all different types of backgrounds you'll meet. And you get a whole mixed vibe. There's no sort of, I would say, set culture in terms of Laing O'Rourke. It's all different people from different backgrounds, and you just have so much to learn, I think. The support also, just through the whole professional method, people help you with the report writing, people help you with your university stuff, whatever. I mean, even in terms of personal life, like if you have a problem at work that you can't really be taught, if you have a conflict with someone, for example, you can't, that's not something they teach at school. Your colleagues are there, like your friends, and they'll talk you through it, and they'll tell you, look, maybe try this approach, maybe try this approach. I mean, I think you won't find it anywhere better, to be honest.
Excellent. What's the gender balance like on site? Obviously, construction has probably been seen as quite a male-dominated industry over the last however many years. What's it like at Laing O'Rourke?
Yes, so we are kind of increasing our diversity here at Laing O'Rourke. So our 2021 cohort that we inducted last year was a 50-50 gender split, which we were really kind of pleased and proud of. And also we've got kind of women's networks across the business and work experience as well, kind of our engagement with the schools. We're trying to increase women into construction.
Fantastic. Sophie says, can you move around and sort of experience different job roles as an apprentice to see which suits best, or are you sort of stuck in the sort of chosen path that you apply for?
So speaking from kind of the apprenticeship I did in human resources, for that apprenticeship route, you are in human resources, but you are given the opportunity to do different placements within the function, which has been great. So I've been able to have placements in recruitment, our kind of people services team, people advisory team. So although you're applying for, say, the HR apprenticeship, there is opportunity for you to get experience across that function. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump in to kind of share their experiences on that one.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because I'm doing my construction management degree, but working as a planner, obviously I am solely a planner, but as a planner, you work with everyone on site. So I work with the QSs, the engineers, the estimators, the procurement team. And I think later on down the line, once you've done your degree, it's quite a strong basis to be able to move into different roles around the business. Obviously, Laing O'Rourke's such a big business, there's always opportunities available. So yeah.
Sophie maybe might try the work experience first. Do they get exposure to different departments on the work experience placements?
Yes, it'll be very depending on kind of the work experience that is set up at the time, but the idea is that the kind of individuals attending the work experience will get an idea of the roles that we have here at Laing O'Rourke.
maybe try that route first. Dave says, do you offer any bricklaying apprenticeships? He's really keen to find a job in this sort of industry.
So Laing O'Rourke doesn't offer any bricklaying apprenticeships, as these typically come through our subcontractors. So that isn't something we offer, I'm afraid.
Okay, no problem. A couple of people here are talking about assessment centres and interviews. Will they be in person or will these be online?
So at the moment, we are working towards in-person assessment centres, but it's just all dependent on kind of the pandemic. But at the moment, it is in person.
Okay, thanks, guys. Just scrolling through. Do you offer mechanical engineering roles? Nick's asked.
So I don't know if I'd quite. So we just saying from experience, one of the planners on our site is obviously he's a planner, but he's a mechanical engineering planner that did the apprenticeship. So I don't know, Chloe, maybe it's a conversation that you can have with HR.
Check out the website, I would say, as well, wouldn't you? Just to see. I'm sure everything will be on there. So yeah, Phil's asked probably pretty good question here. What's the biggest challenges you've all had to face as an apprentice, and sort of how have you overcome them?
For me, at the minute, we're going through a bit of a dispute with one of our works contractors, which is obviously a massive new learning curve for me. So I wouldn't say I've quite overcome that challenge yet, but certainly working towards it. But it's closely working with our commercial lead and commercial managers who are supporting me along the way with it.
Anyone else?
I think. Oh, sorry. I think the biggest challenge as an apprentice, and this is especially within the first few months when you join on site. Obviously, you come straight from. Well, I came straight from school, did my A levels. I think it's just building up the confidence to begin with, especially if you're stepping into a management role. You just got to build up the confidence to be able to say to someone, this isn't how it should be done, or maybe you've got other ways around it. It's just being able to liaise with your team. But yeah, confidence is definitely a big issue, and something you've really got to build. But obviously, everyone around you is so supportive, so it's quite easy to feel comfortable within the working environment.
Thanks, guys.
Just to add on to that, sorry, I'd say that for me, it's mainly resilience. Life hits everyone fast. When you go out there on site, especially, everything can go. On one day, you'll have a good day. Another day, everything will go wrong. You'll have coursework due the next day. It'll come at you really fast. And I think it's being able to look up. You'll make mistakes as well. That's one of the big things. You'll make a mistake, and it's to be able to move forward from that mistake and to be able to say to yourself that it'll get better and, push through and work find the solution to the problem and work your way through the entire experience. It's a 5-year long course, and you're not going to be on your A game every single day. You're going to make mistakes. There's going to be 5 different pieces of coursework that are due at university, all within the same 5 minutes, for example, and you'll have to be resilient. You'll have to be tough through it and work your way through. I think it's having that mindset and that sort of willpower to say it's going to get better. I'm going to be able to do it, and I've got the support around me to do it. I think that's one of the biggest challenges you'll end up learning as well. I think you can only get that from the experience.
Absolutely, yeah. Raid asks, what's the minimum requirements that you guys are looking for? I'm assuming for people to start the apprenticeships.
So for our professional apprenticeship programme, it is 3 A-levels or a BTEC equivalent. So in terms of the entry, it varies for each role that we're advertising. So if you do want to find out more about that, then please email us on earlytalent@langeo'rourke.com.
Thank you, guys. Matthew asks, are the office-based roles remote, or are they now back in the office?
So our offices are open. So yeah, they will be in the office. So at the moment, we're kind of working on a hybrid working approach, which is working from home and working in the office, but that's dependent on what role you have. Some roles, if you're out on site, then it will be site-based because you can't work from home, and vice versa.
Thank you. Tom says, do you offer any support with any relocation or travel costs for people wanting to apply for your apprenticeships?
Yeah, so at the time it will be kind of where we do project allocation, we'll try to, it's where we're a project-led business, it will be dependent on the projects that we have available, but depending on where you are located, this is something we can look into definitely.
All right, thanks guys. Well, we're coming to near the end of the session. Is there one bit of advice that you each want to leave the guys with today if they were considering applying to Laing O'Rourke Apprenticeships?
Sorry, could you just repeat that? Could you cut out
Yeah, it's just one sort of nugget of information, one bit of key advice that you'd leave with the guys today for them to, take forward with them if they ever wanted to apply for an apprenticeship at Laing O'Rourke. It could be how you aced the interview, how you aced the assessment centre, just one little bit of golden information which might help these guys, join you, I suppose.
I think my advice would be is just, especially in the interview phases, if you are interested, you've just got to sound really invested in the role and really interested in what we're doing. Because I think I can stand for everyone here, we really are interested in what we do. Obviously, day-to-day life and just the overall, job that we do. So maybe if you're not that invested or interested, maybe it's not the role for you. But definitely just sound interested.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think, sorry.
Go on, sorry.
Yeah, I just think kind of going on from that, I think it's important to do a lot of research about the company beforehand. I mean, the more knowledge you have about the company, kind of the interest is going to show in the interview and things like that. So, and also you can make sure then there is some way that you would like to work. So yeah, research is really important, and just kind of familiarize yourself with the company beforehand.
Great advice. Anyone else want to chip in? Or?
I would. Oh, sorry, you go, Rebecca.
I think for me, if you are doing the assessment centre and it is in person, the breaks that you have in between the sort of sessions, make sure you're interacting with everyone else, get to know the senior members who are there interviewing you and ask the questions you want to. It's a good opportunity to get involved with them.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to wrap the session up now. Is there some parting words you want to leave the audience today?
Just, I hope that everyone's found the information that we've provided useful, and hopefully we have kind of inspired, people on the call to go down the apprenticeship route, because, I would definitely recommend it to anyone. But if anyone does want to get in touch as well, then or needs any further information that we haven't covered today, then please email us on earlytalent@lango'rourke.com.
Thanks, everyone. Well, I hope everyone's found this a really useful session. Just to say that this session is being recorded. We will host it on the nationalapprenticeshipweek.co.uk website on the on-demand section later in the week. So if you wanted to come back and refer to it at any time, you can there. And just to say, we've got a few more events today and tomorrow for the rest of the National Apprenticeship Week 2022. So have a check on the events tab on the site as well. But just to say a big thank you to everyone for coming today. And enjoy the rest of your day. We'll sign off now.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.